Ancient skeletons with elongated, deformed skulls discovered in Croatia. Artificial cranial deformation was practiced in various parts of the world. Archaeologists have discovered 3 ancient skeletons in Croatia, 2 of which have elongated, artificially deformed skulls. Each of the skulls was given a different shape, probably to indicate that they belonged to a particular cultural group. Artificial cranial deformation was practiced in different parts of the world, from Eurasia and Africa to South America. For this purpose, tight caps, bindings, or rigid wooden plates were used, while the bones of the skull were still plastic in early childhood. In different ancient cultures, there were different motives for the practice, from demonstrating social status to creating what was considered a more beautiful skull. The earliest known case of this practice was recorded 12,000 years ago in ancient China, but it is not clear whether the practice spread from there or arose independently in different parts of the world. Mario Novak, a bioarchaeologist at the Institute for Anthropological Research in Zagreb, Croatia, explains that the 3 skeletons were found in a burial pit at the archaeological site Hermanov Vinograd in Croatia in 2013. Subsequently, between 2014 and 2017, DNA analysis and radiographic imaging were conducted in order to examine the interior of the elongated skulls. Analysis of the 3 skeletons showed that they belonged to 3 male children, aged between 12 and 16 years. All of them show signs of malnutrition, but this is not necessarily the cause of their death. They may have had some disease that killed them quickly without leaving traces on their bones, such as the plague. Novak notes, the archaeologists did not find artifacts in the burial that could reveal the social status of the boys. Novak reports, the analysis also revealed that the 3 lived between AD 415 and 560, a time corresponding to the period of the Great Migration of Peoples, a very turbulent period in European history, when, after the fall of the Roman Empire, entirely new populations and cultures arrived in Europe and became the foundation of modern European nations. In other words, this period laid the foundations of Europe as we know it today. Novak stated, one of the 3 boys had West Eurasian ancestry, another had Near Eastern origin, and the third had East Asian ancestry, according to the scientists' DNA analysis. The boy of Near Eastern origin had a cranial deformation of the circular, erect type, which means that the frontal bone behind the forehead was flattened and the height of the skull was significantly increased. Novak comments, the boy, who likely came from West Eurasia, did not have cranial deformation, while the boy with East Asian ancestry had a skull with an oblique deformation, meaning that the skull was elongated diagonally upward. Why assume that in Europe different types of cranial deformation may have been used as a visual indicator of affiliation with a particular cultural group? Novak explains, for now, it is not clear which cultural groups they belong to, although the East Asian boy may have been a Hun. Elongated skulls to stimulate a sense of community. An article by Ancient Origins from 2014 discusses a study that unravels the history, origin, and ethnic context of elongated skulls found in the Carpathian Basin in Eastern and Central Europe. In AD 453, Attila died, and many Germanic tribes began to rebel against the Huns in the Carpathian Basin. Scientists link the frequent occurrence of artificial cranial deformation in Europe and the Carpathian Basin with the migration of the Huns into Europe in the 4th and 5th centuries, and say that the custom survived among Germanic populations until the beginning of the 7th century. In 2017, a scientific paper was published that analyzed the skeletons of members of the ruling elite in some parts of South America, who also artificially elongated the heads of their children as a symbol of their status. The authors concluded that this practice may have helped to stimulate a sense of community and collective identity. Now Novak and his team hope to find more examples of cranial deformation from Europe in order to study this phenomenon on a larger scale.